wrong with it? You know what time it is. It's time to talk, so let's talk. With Jay Jackson and Mandingo X on UstreamRadio.com. And we had to come to you Friday because we got some real late-breaking news that came in the news right now. I had the pleasure and honor to have my man Diamond K on the phone. What's going on, Diamond?
Nothing much. What's going on with you?
Man, I don't know, man. It's crazy in this news, man. I mean, big news right now. Zimmerman. I mean, when I say Zimmerman, what do you think? What do you say? First thing come to your mind.
I was surprised. I was very surprised at the. I wasn't really surprised that they gave him bail, as much as I was surprised at the low amount of bail that he was actually given. Low amount, in contrast to the crime that was committed.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, at first, his bail, his lawyer, which I must say, on a person that don't have that much income, which we're going to get into later, he definitely has a high-end, high-profile lawyer that was able, at first, the lawyer himself was going for $15,000 at first. But people don't know, and usually when you get bailed out of jail, they only require 10%, which will only mean that he was only going for $1,500 on the second-degree murder case, in which he laid down all of the outlines to Zimmerman of what he wanted as far as his attorney, as far as GPS, him able to leave out of the state itself, as far as him to go into hiding, as far as him getting a $150,000 bail. And usually a judge, he went on and gave him everything. He said, okay, I can agree to that. If the state don't have any problem with it. To me, that was kind of outrageous for a judge to do that. I mean, what do you think about the whole situation?
Well, when you say outrageous, you mean outrageous from the standpoint of what?
I mean, outrageous from the standpoint of, usually when you go to court, right, the judge, I mean, everything that the attorney was asking for, as far as him being able to leave out of state, as far as him being able, because his family don't earn that much money, and as far as he is nowhere in the world he's going to be able to pay a high bail like that, having a substantial amount to be able to get out on bail. For him to be able to wear a GPS bracelet on a murder case, which don't really mean nothing. If you want to go, you can cut it off and leave. That's what I mean as far as on any other case, they would have gave him no bail or $1 million, which would have been $100,000. That's what I mean as far as that. What do you think?
I agree with that. I mean, it's I guess that this is Florida, and they're going to be looking at this stand your ground law. They're going to try to apply that to this case when I just don't feel that it applies in this case. I don't necessarily think that it's a bad law, but it can't be an excuse for just cold-blooded murder. And I mean, what did you think about his apology? What did you think about the apology that he gave to the family?
The apology to me was, whack. Excuse the lack of better words. It was just totally terrible. We all know, and we have seen a lot of different cases down the line, whether they've been on TV or family members been in it. We all know why a person, when they're being tried for any case, it may be, is going to apologize to get themselves whether a less sentence or to get out in this case. And to me, in this case, after 50 days, that he never even made an apology to the family or actually got his attorneys, whether it's a previous attorney or a current attorney, to apologize. To me, it don't hold any water. We all know what the strategy is. I mean, you got to be an idiot to not know why this guy was apologizing. But this is where it gets you at. In the case, after he got the bail, why was he smiling and smirking? What was the laughing matter in that?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. Some footage, some photos rather, have been popping up of the back of Zimmerman's head. Have you seen these photos of the night in question?
Well, yeah. Some reliable sources have said some of some of these photos, and later on they're going to come out in the case. Because that's a good thing that you did bring that up, because what they've been saying is just to also let you know, the Florida police sucks in this particular case. And it's going to come out further, but a lot of other cases they suck in as well, because if you think about it, in a murder case, in any murder case, whether it been Trayvon Martin or any other cases out there, the first step that they would do is take that person to the doctors to make sure that their story is matching up with the head injuries. Anybody would know, even pushing your head on the ground, they're going to at least leave a knot. I mean, somebody can punch you in your head and you're going to leave some type of knot or mark. We're not even going to talk about the blood or scraping that the concrete will leave.
Right.
And none of this was reported. And to me, that don't make any sense. If this was going to be a murder investigation that was going to be worked, and that's showing you that they didn't have any intentions until this came in the media to work this case. They were going to sweep it up under the rug and just call it a self-defense case. Another case just closed out. And to me, that's what other case is going to come out. To me, that's why the police chief stepped down, if you ask me.
Well, as far as the repercussions that could potentially come from this, I mean, Florida traditionally is a very shady state when it comes to laws and when it comes to executing anything with, anything really. I mean, if you look at the elections in the past, Florida was where the count was all jacked up. They definitely are not above shady dealings. And
the thing is, all of this is going to come out. As far as everything that happened in the case, he already was proven, integrity-wise, that he's really not telling the truth. For example, when he did the apology that you brought up earlier, in his statement, quoted, he was saying that he apologized to the family, that at the time he did tell the police that he wanted to apologize. So to me, if you're in a case, right, think about it like this. You're in a fight, and you get into a situation where someone's about to threaten your life, right?
Right.
And you had no other choice but to defend yourself. Why are you apologizing? I mean, whatever the case may be at the time, he's saying that he apologized to the police officer.
Well, I mean, I think that it's the aspect of, you're apologizing for the fact that the family has a loved one lost. If you wanna subscribe to that philosophy.
Well, in that case, that could be considered, but this is where you get crazy at, and that can definitely be considered. This is where you get crazy. He said that he did not know that this was a 17-year-old boy or any age. He thought that he was only a couple of years younger than him. Now, this is a family guy that counseled kids in his area, I mean, from what he said. Been living in this area for over 10 years. And to me, it don't make any sense. And any grown man, or let's say adult, no matter what color or race you be, and to me, a counselor will have the upper hand working with kids, will know that they engage with a kid in a conversation, let alone some type of argument or disagreement. I mean, wouldn't you agree to that?
I definitely agree with that. And somebody in his position should be a better judge as to the intellect of the person that he was dealing with. I definitely believe that. So, are you saying that do you believe that he was aware that this was a child?
Definitely. I mean, and I'm saying that, and hey, if y'all have any questions or concerns, make sure y'all hit us up on the request line. That number is 347-945-6093, or you can hit us up on Facebook, the Let's Talk Jay Jackson. Hey, we can do the daggone thing. Send us all of the comments and everything. I mean, just to answer your question, I definitely agree to that, Diamond. Because if you think about it, right, how can you have some type of, for example, you have a young boy saying, I don't care how tall he is, and today, hey, I can agree. These kids in high school, man, they drinking their milk. They're tall, they're big, but their intellect, who they are as a person, I mean, if you spend a good 20 seconds or 10 seconds with the average kid, and I'm not talking about the one that's intellectual, because the one that's intellectual is definitely not going to be a case of this person making you feel threatened. But let's say, as you would say, the ignorant one, the one that was making you feel scared or threatened. The last thing that you're going to think of this person as being an adult, especially if you had some type of conversation, and if no conversation was had, why was this kid killed? Why were you feeling threatened if we know he wasn't the aggressor? He didn't have nothing to aggress you with. And if he was doing a crime, everybody knows that when someone is doing a crime, the last thing they're going to do is go towards the authorities. They're going to try to get away from the authorities. So, to me, the stand your ground law should have gone towards Trayvon, not towards the one that was going after him. That don't make any sense to me.
You know, I agree with that, and I think that the other issue here is the location of the murder. Where exactly was Trayvon in relationship to a familiar territory, his relative's house or whatever? In retrospect to where he died, how far away was he from the house?
And the thing is, and the investigator is going to be able to tell that story as well, because they were saying, as far as an Associated Press, that it's showing that he was on his way towards his home. The surveillance cameras are showing everything as far as en route was directing him towards your home. It's not directing him towards another area to do some type of crime or, I mean, to me, to make you feel threatened. And this is what I wanted to ask. And I asked this to everybody. I thought, because back in my early days, I'm going to let you know, I was top flight security myself. I did it. I was out there. I had the badge on. I was walking around or whatever have you. Yeah, I even had the little hat that they had on back in the days. But that's another story. But this is what I wanted to know. In my line of work, if anybody out there is a security guard, by all means, hey, hit us up. Let us know anything different. I thought the security guards was only there to observe and report. They are professional witnesses. That's why they don't give them guns or any type of weapons, because they're only there to identify and to be able to give a positive witness statement to that actual person. So, for example, if they see somebody doing crime, they're not to approach that person. They're only supposed to see what's going on, get a description, let them know the best way or the way this person is going at, so that way and locate the proper authorities so that way they can follow up on the job. In no way, in any handbooks, and that's why I don't know how they're backing this guy. They're trying to use every law to keep him out of jail, because it says that you're supposed to go after an attack unless you're some type of armed guard at the bank or anything. I mean, would you agree to that? I mean, have you ever heard of security guards supposed to use excessive force unless they are the police or the authorities?
No. No, but it happens, and maybe Zimmerman thought that he was a police officer. Would this case be any different if he was a police officer? Do you think, it would be any different?
Well, to me, if this guy was moving, in which they're saying he was, they're saying that he was not stopping when the guy was saying, hey, stop. To me, police don't pull you over unless they have probable cause. Now, a probable cause in that case would be if he was loitering or inside of a private property area or soliciting or anything of that such sort. But when you're actually moving, the only law that you can actually violate is jaywalking. I mean, if you're steady moving. That's why the police, if you ever hear them on the movies or out at places and when there's gatherings, what they say, keep it moving, there's nothing to see. First thing they say. Because if you're keeping it moving and not standing in one spot, they don't have no right to question you or ask you for any ID or anything like that. So, to me, no.
If you're not moving,
usually stays away from that.
Exactly.
So, know what you were saying. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the part about his defense that's so perplexing to me is that he felt threatened. You know what I mean? Trayvon was minding his own business, and he was approached by Zimmerman. How can Zimmerman act as if he felt threatened when he approached Trayvon.
That don't make any sense to me whatsoever at all. I mean, I thought that the stand your ground law, if I'm not mistaken, and if anybody can tell us anything different, please hit us up. To me, I thought it goes on the person that's feeling threatened. To me, if I was being followed versus me following someone else, how can I feel threatened?
Right.
That don't make any sense.
And if he did feel threatened, why didn't he leave the area and stay gone? You know?
And it gets wilder and wilder. And the thing is, it's going to be a lot of dirt. Like the president said, there's going to be a full investigation. And when he says something, it usually gets done. And to me, I think that's why the police chase jump ship. He's like, oh, I would not be caught up in it. Because I see that other than just this Trayvon case, there's going to be a lot of dirt that comes out of his police department that's up there. And a lot of the detectives and everyone that's been working these cases in the past couple of years. I see that coming out. I predict that. I mean, what do you say?
I mean, you know, more than that, I think that really depends on the result of this trial. If Zimmerman goes free and is found innocent, I don't think that that's going to be something that they have to deal with. If he's found guilty, then I think that that's going to be some of the repercussions with the result of this. I don't predict this is going to go to trial anytime soon.
Me neither.
With the legal and maneuvering, I mean, this could drag out for 2 years.
Definitely, and then you got to think about appeal bonds because everyone is entitled to appeal. And if you think of it like this, they're letting him go down and leave the state on GPS now. So what's stopping him later on down the line from doing the same thing when he actually don't agree with whatever they convict him for and get a couple more years to get out of free jail card? I mean, it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense.
He should be allowed to leave the state?
Yeah, he's allowed to leave the state, along with other things.
Do you think he should be allowed to leave the state?
Definitely not. I mean, to me, in a case like that, I understand that they're saying that his life has been threatened. Let's talk about that for a minute. He killed somebody. Of course, that's going to happen. That his family in a situation that can put them in there. He just need to go away. It's been a lot of people that have been on trial for murder, whether it's been first or second degree. And for one, they usually get $1 million or no bail. I mean, that's just automatically standard.
Right.
And for two, they definitely, I mean, even if you think about it, like, we're talking about even of a misdemeanor. You can't even usually, when you got a trial extended, not let alone a murder trial, they don't let you leave the state. If they want to put you under some type of protective custody or anything like that of that such sort, then let that be. But they don't let you leave the state on a murder trial. To me, it's too many things being laid out for this guy. And there's a lot of things that's going on that's attaching to it. It's getting real, as I would say, smelly out here. And it's going to come out. It's going to come out. What don't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse, as they say down in the old country saying and stuff. But, hey, make sure y'all hit this up. Let's Talk Jay Jackson. Hit us up on Facebook for any questions or concerns, any comments and stuff. We need to hear y'all opinions on this, man, because this is crazy. We can't keep having this go on, and we need to hear what do y'all think about this. Without y'all word, without our petitions, and without us speaking out and getting these laws, to me, stopped and abolished. And I know, Diamond, you might say, I don't know, the stand your ground law is pretty cool, but to me, if I can't have a gun, because, the average black man can't have no guns because a lot of them have felons for the most part, and I'm speaking for us collectively, then I think that this law needs to be stopped because it's not playing good. It's not playing grounds. I mean, what do y'all think? Make sure y'all hit this up.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, it's unfortunate that the stand. Are you saying that you don't believe in citizens being able to arm themselves?
No, I totally agree with the right to bear arms, but let's look at it like this. With the laws that's in place right now, it's a lot of, let's say, minorities, whether it's African American or Mexicans, Hispanic, that have felony records. And a felony record is easier to get than this murder case, as we're seeing. And a lot of people have that charge for the rest of their life. So with that being said, a lot of them can't stand their ground for their family, just on a small level. I mean, so 9 times out of 10, they're going to be the ones without the guns. They're going to be the ones that other people feel threatened about, whether they have a baseball cap on or a hoodie, whatever it may be, today or tomorrow, and they have a right to be able to shoot you in the streets. And when you're in your own home, if somebody break into your home, have your TV set in the middle of the night, you don't have a right to shoot them. You got to let them run out.
I don't know if that's the proper interpretation of it. I mean, I think that if someone breaks into your home and is threatening you, you do have the right to defend yourself, felon or not. But legally to carry a gun after you have committed some type of violent act, I think that just comes with, the territory.
Well,
every law is not going to benefit a perpetrator, and it works both ways, But the right to bear arms for a felon, it kind of works against him. But I understand what you're saying. It kind of puts it behind the 8 ball. But my thing is, how about we find ways to not commit some of these crimes, so we can't say that, the law is not fair for me because I committed some crimes. We need to start teaching the young ones to go another way early, so we don't have that obstacle to go up against.
Well, I agree with you to a certain extent, but the thing is, back in the 80s, when before Obama, he actually stopped this law when he's given all this time out like candy for cocaine versus crack cocaine, which was a big epidemic back in the 80s. Correct. That actually implemented, a lot of this felony charges on a lot of this generation that's coming up now. Now, with that being said, this generation have a lack of opportunity versus the other people because of things that they did in their past. Now, I'm not saying or justifying different things that people do in the streets, because everyone has options. There are people that came from the hood or ran away that was able to educate themselves and get out of that particular situation. But with that being said, hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, with that being said, I want to make sure you're still with me. I thought we had some technical difficulties.
No, I'm definitely here.
With that being said, to me, a lot of the people that baby booming years is a generation that's growing up with less opportunity. Now, Obama stopped this, that you get the same amount of time for crack cocaine that you get for cocaine, because some of the, let's say, for lack of a better word, Caucasians or other ethnics was using that, versus the poor people were using crack cocaine. It was not given out at the same time. So with that being said, a lot of people caught those felony charges. Now, we're living in a time frame that you can't get no gun, be around nobody with no gun or any type of weapon at all. But you're still being looked at as a threat. You got to keep a smile on your face, cut all of the hair off your face, off your head. Don't grow no dreadlocks. And definitely don't put a hood on. I mean, you're seeing that right now. I mean, it's crazy out here. So what do you do? What do you do in a situation like that? Not to hammer out the issues as far as the particulars, but a violent offender versus a non-violent offender, I think that they should be treated differently. If your crime was crack cocaine and selling drugs, no one killed, I don't think that you should be held in the same point as someone who murdered someone or armed robbery. I agree.
And, so I don't think that everything should be across the board. But the fact that we commit African Americans and Hispanics commit a lot of the crimes is an issue that we have to deal with, and a lot of the laws are not set up for us. But we know that, and we have to do something about that.
I totally agree. I totally agree with the situation, because if we don't do something about the situation, we're going to keep falling into that trap. There's no question about it. I mean, and what you were saying, just to touch on what you were saying, Diamond, we got to really take heed to this and realize that if we keep having these things put on, we already know we're going to be judged by what we look like. That's not going to change the day and tomorrow, whether Zimmerman wound up getting life imprisonment or the death penalty or walk.
Right.
That's not going to change. But what we can do is basically keep this whole stigma of these stereotypes down. I mean, because you got to think about it. And I'll say this, and I got to say this, a lot of people might be mad at me. Same thing. If a white guy was around there that had the whole hip-hop influence per se, let's say this. That is the jeans sagging, hoodie on his head, whatever. And this is the stereotype they say. Standing around there with the whole swag as, let's say, African American or whatever have you, and he was around in that area, I think that he would have been profiled as a threat as well. So I don't really, myself personally, I don't even think that is about the color. I think it's the whole stigma on how people look at us and that whole entire swag. I mean, I don't know if you agree with that, Diamond, and maybe people won't. And maybe people will, but I think that we should stop in some of these ways and mentalities that we've been carried on for years. We should leave some of them away, because as you can see, we're being put in a box, and we can't even keep nobody in jail for murder, for a young kid, let alone if you're a grown man. We're not even going to talk about if you're a grown man. So I think that some of these characteristics or these stigmas about who we were or how we carry ourselves have to be changed a little bit. And I know a lot of people might don't agree to that. Why do I got to change? Because we're dying and our kids are dying. And if we don't make some type of changes, we're going to run up into some situations and problems.
Yeah, absolutely. For anybody just tuning in, special edition of Let's Talk with Jay Jackson and Mandingo X. You can check them out every Sunday, 2:30 p.m. UStreamRadio.com. It's a weird thing, because the perspective that you took with, you're saying it's more so of the, if I can, and I know this is overused, the hip hop dress. You think that is what it was? I don't know if I can even call a hood, hip hop. I think that a hoodie probably was in existence before hip hop.
And it was.
Yeah.
But it's all in,
yeah.
I think, and we had a conversation before that off the air, it's all in about how you wear this hoodie, per se, that I guess it makes people feel threatened. If you had the same, you have an old retired Caucasian or Asian or whatever have you jogging down the street with a hoodie on, and the same security guard was around there, and this person could have been probably breaking in people's houses or a lookout person. And they wouldn't even thought of that person as a threat. And you get one person, the main person that's not even a threat to you, wind up a main suspect. And it's not even the clothes. You can't even say that, because I guess it's the way that our culture wears stuff that makes them feel threatened. To me, that sounds crazy, but because I think of it, same thing. If I took an Asian with the same type, I think that's what Geraldo previously was trying to get at when he was trying. He just said it wrong, because we all know when Geraldo got his nose broke back in the days on that old show he had. If y'all paid attention to it, he's not a racist per se, but I guess what he was trying to say in that show is it's the whole personification of how our generation justifies some of the hardships and times. And I gotta say that. To me, for example, the whole pants sagging thing. To me, when I came up, usually a pants sagging meant that you didn't have a belt.
Right.
You couldn't afford a belt. So you wore your clothes to the best, and you styled it the best way you could. Now this is a style. Same way with boots. You know, we had boots back in the day. Nobody didn't want to wear boots for Timberlands became style because that was the only rugged shoe that you can keep that ain't going to wear out, that it's not going to tear up. Now, some of these styles, per se, that the hood is, what's the word for it? Adapted, became part of the hip-hop culture because what we're saying is that we had to work what we had to improvise. And that's what the whole hip-hop culture is all about. But some of the people that's not coming up in the hip-hop culture, per se, they're coming up in the suburbs. They're not coming up in it. To me, I have a problem with that because you have this family living in the suburbs, putting food on the table, putting you in the best schools in the best areas. Then you get this kid that don't have to wear his pants sagging. They don't have to wear over big clothes or over clothes that makes them look big and bulky, or because that's why you wore big clothes or whatever, or you have to wear hand-me-downs. You don't have to,
Right.
To me, I look at it like when I see these suburban kids or anything like that, the parents is providing for them, is giving them a lot of stuff that they can, and they just try to still result to the poor kid or the kid that don't have. To me, that's what I mean by we need to change that. Because a lot of the culture now, we know what we have went through, and I'm speaking for the ones that's there, that's taking care of their family, to understand their place in life, not the deadbeats. The deadbeats is not going to be listening to the show. So we don't have to even worry about that. I'm talking about the people that's really stepping up in their family. We know that we're putting the right things in our kids, but our kids are still trying to hold on to a culture that they don't have to, that they don't have to walk around looking certain ways, because we know that when we had this culture, we were being stereotyped. We was being picked out as these thugs and these goons, and really this is all we had. And some people was giving us a bad rap out there. I can't say that. But for the most part, a lot of our culture these days do not have to adapt some of these ways, but we still have them in our ways to show, what's the word for, some type of homage to that old culture. And I think that we're going about it the wrong way. And hey, if y'all have any comments and concerns, make sure y'all tune into the Let's Talk Jay Jackson show on Ustream Radio. Like I said again, we really appreciate it, taking us from 200 to thousands of hits out there. Y'all got to keep supporting out there. We got to keep getting the comments. Y'all be calling the lines. We can't get to everybody. Hey, you can hit me up, 678-973-5459. Shoot me a text. Make sure you hit the Facebook. You can shoot us a comment over there. Or, hey, you can go to the UstreamRadio.com and listen to all of the archives of all of the old shows. We always have them and everything. For this whole thing, what do you think, in closing with this, Diamond, what do you think about this whole situation, and what do you predict for the most part? I know you're not Cleo. What do you predict is going to happen in this situation?
Right. I'm not Cleo. Like I said, I predict that Zimmerman's going to lay low. He has obviously a good legal defense who was able to get him out and work out something for him. And this may not even go to trial. They may get this closed out and settle some kind of way. I don't know, but it's definitely in the days, the weeks, and the months to come. This is definitely going to be a hot topic, and I don't see it going down anytime soon. If I can read a couple, Janae Paul says that the amount of money was too low for murder. She said that a man in Baltimore was assaulted and beat on the streets, and his bail was $500,000, and that was not a murder case, but a killer in Florida gets $150,000. The law is screwed up. And I think that that's probably the settlements, the views rather of a lot of people, But when you look at that in perspective, the amount of money, that part goes to the government, so that part doesn't affect us. It's just that we'll look at it and say, okay, they charge them this amount of money, so does that make us feel better? That doesn't benefit that doesn't benefit the victims. That only benefits the government. So, in essence, what does that really mean in the big scheme of things?
You're absolutely right. I mean, but I look at it like it just still takes away from the amount of money he would need for his legal defense. But, I mean, I think, hey, they got long pockets. I mean, if y'all don't know, if y'all haven't heard, now, reliable sources have let me know that the company Koch Paper, if y'all don't know who Koch Paper is, they're the companies that put out a lot of your lead brand different household products, from Dixie plates, Mardi Gras napkins, Colton Norvin, Gentle Soft, Vanity Fair, Brawny Towels. Did I say Brawny Towels? They put out a lot of these different things. They actually support the American Legislative Exchange Council, which actually backs the Stand Your Ground law. And they're actually, out of coincidence, covering some of his legal fees. So with that being said, if y'all could, and I said we need to leave some of these daggone paper companies alone. I mean, we got to stand our ground. I mean, because if they're, for the most part, and I know what you're saying, Diamond, they're backing this law. And this is something that they're backing. It's not like they're backing him directly. But to me, I don't even think that they should have supplied him with legal counsel in this situation, because there's many people that stood their ground in Florida and other states that didn't have that same backing. What's the difference between him and other people that actually face life imprisonment or any other things over in that particular